YouTube, what's up everyone? Look, what if I told you that David Schwartz, Joel Katz, the man, the myth, the legend, might have just dropped the biggest clue in XRP history? He didn't say it directly, but what if you caught what he said about every base being 10? Your mind is about to melt because what if, just what if, he hinted at XRP's true base price? That's right. Let's jump into this, everyone. Let's break this whole thing down. You see it up on your screen. Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, the man who is known for dropping cryptic one-liners that later turn out to be massive clues, goes online on Twitter and he says every base is base 10. That's right. Every base is base 10. Now, at first glance, sounds like nothing, right? But the XRP community, we know better. You know we know better because when David speaks in riddles, it's never random. The guy built the freaking XRP ledger. He probably built Bitcoin. This is probably Satoshi himself. Every word is intentional. So let's play this out for a second, all right? Every base is base 10. What's base 10? It's our decimal system, right? 0 through 9. But in crypto, base 10 could mean something entirely different. What if Schwartz wasn't talking math, but he was talking money? What if he was hinting that XRP's base price, its foundational value, is tied to 10 cents, $1, $10? You see the pattern? He could be implying that XRP's real base is an intended range of value beginning at 10. Sounds crazy, right? Well, so did Bitcoin at 20,000 back in 2016. I'm with you. But look, Schwartz has been around long enough to know the psychological power of planting seeds. And this could be the most brilliant breadcrumb yet, if you ask me. You're going to want to stick around because we got a lot of firepower to show you. And up next, we're going to talk about the White House itself because they might have just confirmed the timing for when everything is going to go live. And folks, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button for me. It is the ultimate way to support the channel and it's free. If you don't want to support the channel in the free way, you can pay $5 and join the RV fan club. Why not? It's another way to support the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Look, the White House, they just set the economic timer. This just dropped. White House advisor Hassett, he said that the economy will recover once the government reopens. Now the almighty question is, when is the government gonna reopen? The longest shutdown in history. So why does this matter though for XRP holders, right? Because this single statement, it's code for something. You know what it's code for? It is code for liquidity unlock. Every time the US government reopens, spending, liquidity floods back into the markets. And guess what's sitting at the crossroads of global liquidity and digital transfer? Well, if you guessed XRP, you guessed right. Ripple's entire design is to be the bridge asset when the whole financial system restarts, right? They reset it on October 10th by liquidating 19 billion in longs. Government shut down, so why not reset the financial system when the government's about to open? Because look, it's going to open, right? Its liquidity values, the timing couldn't be more perfect. And right after that, you know what else we got? We got a statement that blew the roof off of Twitter, and it's right here. The Fed chair himself, that's right. Let me pause this real quick. Rewind it. I'll make sure you can hear this. Not too old, but it's good. It's going to set us up. Watch. So the Fed says that every bank can now offer Bitcoin and crypto services. Let that sink in. Every bank offer Bitcoin and crypto services. And then Trump passed the law stating that these banks can no longer dictate or tell you how you can spend your money. If you want to buy crypto, you can buy crypto. So let that statement sink in that every bank can now offer Bitcoin and crypto services. This isn't some random altcoin exchange news, right? This is the US Federal Reserve opening the gates. The old system just gave crypto the keys to the kingdom. And I know you know what that means. We're so early that most people, they don't realize how monumental that is. Let's listen.
So our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks. And, you know, we think banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As a good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. The threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in crypto activities. And that's because they're so new, and we don't want to make the mistake. If you're making a choice to conduct that activity inside a bank, which is inside the federal safety net with deposit insurance, then you want to be pretty sure that it's a safe and sound activity. So, we're not against innovation, and we certainly don't want to take actions that would cause banks to terminate customers who are perfectly legal.
Look, if every bank can custody crypto, what happens when they start bridging value through assets like XRP, XLM, and Quant? Exactly. You get instant settlement, 24/7 liquidity. And it's not just banks that are moving. Developers, they are doing the same as well. Because Sergey, Chainlink guy, what he just said, it could change absolutely everything. I want you to listen to this, okay? It's going to play. Here we go.
In the institutional context, you start to have 5, 10, 15, 20 pieces of code that you have to manage, that do different things, written in different languages, that no one really understands other than one engineer or two engineers what each piece of code does. And it's also not really reusable. So you're building an institutional smart contract bespoke every time. And I can see some of the engineers kind of nodding their heads as I'm saying this, because I recognize some of them. What you're going to get with the CRE is a place where you can write a single piece of workflow code. And that one piece of code defines how your smart contracts work across chains, how the contracts are deployed to those chains, how the data flows into those contracts, what are the conditions under which those contracts interact across chains, what are the conditions under which those contracts are allowed or not allowed to do things. So they have to check an identity, they have to check the solvency of the coin and whether or not proof of reserves was attached to the coin, whatever other checks that you want it to do. And now you'll have a single place to write that code. And what this should do is the same thing that JavaScript did for the internet and what the EVM did for tokenization in our industry, is that it should massively simplify the process of building smart contracts that work across chains, utilize external data, deal with identity, deal with internal accounting and other systems from existing infrastructure.
So look, what he's saying here, okay, he's talking about CRE, which is Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol. This is the missing puzzle piece for institutional grade smart contracts. Think of it this way, right? JavaScript made the internet usable for everyone. CRE, it's about to make crypto usable for everything. But here's where it gets wild, because while Sergey is laying the foundation, whales are quietly making their moves. You see the chart. Over the past 2 weeks, whales have accumulated over 4 million Chainlink. 4 million Chainlink. Folks, they're not guessing. They are positioning. When you see that kind of movement, it is not retail hype, trust me. This is driven by institutions, by the big boys. The smart money is preparing for utility season, which we have not seen yet. They know that regulations, it's right around the corner. And when that clarity drops, the Clarity Act, the Genius Act, the government reopens, guess what? It is game over. So we move over to this because Patrick Witt from the President's Council of Advisors, he confirmed it at Swell on stage with Brad. Listen.
Bill goes, we are maintaining, before the end of the year, the president wants that piece of legislation on his desk, so we're continuing to apply pressure, having regular meetings. I think
says we are maintaining that the market structure bill will pass before the end of the year, aka the Clarity Act is incoming. And when it does, that is your green light for institutions, and these institutions have been waiting for this to get passed because this is the rules of the road, and now they can officially start using XRP. Once that happens, trillions sitting on the sidelines can finally flow into tokenized assets. The system's about to turn back on, but this time the system's going to be blockchain based. And speaking of the system, it's not just the US that's making moves here, everyone. It is the global banking network, because they are next, because everyone knows about ISO 20022. It goes live just about 2 weeks or so, a little over 2 weeks. That means that every major bank on earth must upgrade to this new messaging standard. They must upgrade so they are able to tap into digital ledger technology. And guess which assets are built to integrate seamlessly? XRP, XLM, ADA, HBAR, Algo, Quant, XDC, even good old IOTA. This is the foundation of the new financial internet, everyone. When these systems connect, the flow of value, it becomes instant. It becomes borderless and it becomes programmable. And guess who is cheering it on? Someone you might not expect. That's right, we're talking about Donald Trump because he was just in Miami. I'm gonna play this for you. But Trump says if we don't do crypto properly, that China will. And you know Trump not gonna let China win this race.
To end the federal government's war on crypto. Crypto is under siege. It's not under siege anymore because it's a big industry. It's a big industry, and I have a lot of people that are great people, great business people. They're in other businesses, but they're in crypto too. And it takes a lot of the pressure off the dollar. It does a lot of good things, but we're into it. Biden was vicious on crypto. They were going after these crypto guys. It was terrible. They were under indictment. But I got indicted too. I made a phone call. Congratulations on your victory. He made a phone call. Let's indict him. These people are the worst. Then they say, he's gone after Comey. They indicted me. They impeached me. They did everything. It's unbelievable. Who the hell else could have taken that? Do you guys know anybody else that could have taken it? I don't think so. A lot of people say, you're the only one could have taken that. I don't know if that's true, but there aren't too many. We're making the United States the Bitcoin superpower, the crypto capital of the world, and the undisputed leader in artificial intelligence. We're leading China by a lot.
His words. He wants the U.S. to become a Bitcoin, aka crypto superpower of the world, right? This means that the political tone, it has completely flipped. We went from suppression to adoption, and now crypto is a national priority. Let that sink in. And once that domino fully falls, it's only a matter of time before the markets themselves evolves into something that is just, it's unstoppable, right? And in the future, this is what the future looks like: 24/7, no borders, all tokenized. We're nearly in 2026, like a month away. And the fact that we are still waiting for trading hours to open, absolutely ridiculous. The world's best market, it's closed on the weekends. Why? Because the system's ancient, that's why. Tokenized assets, that changes all of that. Instant settlement, 24/7, 365, no middleman, no friction. When you realize how outdated the legacy markets are, you start to see why XRP and similar assets, right, aren't just investments, that they are upgrades to the financial tools. So let's bring this full circle. Schwartz said every base is base 10. If that was his way of saying that XRP's base is true underlying value starts at 10, oh, we're going to be a lot of happy people. Then everything we're seeing now, from regulations to ISO 20022 to institutional adoption, it is all aligning for that reality. We're not waiting for the bull run, folks. We're sitting at the start of the utility era. And when this hits base 10, well, it might not sound that crazy.